I'm getting ready to go outside. It's ridiculously hot and humid out there. And we owe you guys an updated video on the house. We just haven't gotten around to it because we've been so busy with taking care of the property and getting moved into the house and just everything else that goes along with owning property. And we feel blessed to have what we have, but it's just a lot to keep up with. And we are at our four and a half month mark of being retired, like fully retired, living on Piney Grove. And I have no idea how we did what we did before we retired. How we got up every morning, drove 30 to 40 minutes to work, and worked 9 hours, and came home and then did all this Piney Grove stuff on the weekend and editing videos at night. We didn't even get in the house the other day till 9 p.m. when we baled hay. And one day this week, and we don't film everything, but one day this week we were mowing and doing string trimming, and we didn't put the mower in the mega shed, put it back away until 7 p.m. And I just wonder how we got it all done. My friend Hank Hamilton, he said the same thing, or he says the same thing on his channel, because he's retired. He's like, I don't know how people YouTube and also have full-time jobs, and it's tough. My good friend Lucas Peak over at Peak's Peak Hobby Homestead, he's not only got a full-time job, but he's very active in his church, and he's building a house by himself. I mean, literally by himself, building a small house and doing it after work and on the weekends. I don't know, man. Got to appreciate the people that like to grind, that like to just put in that full day's work and then go to their property and put in another full day's work. But let's get this stuff over to the compost, and then we're going to put the finish mower on the tractor, on the Kubota tractor, because I want to try and clean up an area over there that's been giving us an issue. So we've been trying not to put anything into our septic and trying to compost everything. So just about every day we're bringing over little containers full of banana peels and coffee grinds, and we had a bunch of pears mature on a tree that was already on the property when we bought it, and we trimmed it back, and it quit producing pears. Well, this year it's full of pears. Deb feeds the neighbor's horses every night with the pears, but so many are dropping and they're bigger now that she picked a bunch off the ground and made some pear bread yesterday. So we put a whole bunch of pear pieces in the compost bin, and the watermelons are coming due. And I've eaten several watermelons. I think I'm on number 5, and I cut up 2 this morning. And so there's tons of watermelon rinds to put in the compost bin. And it's just been interesting. I can't wait for that to mature and get the compost out the bottom. And it takes everything in me not to look in there and see how it's doing. It's only been a couple weeks, and I'm just really interested to see what it looks like and then start using that compost. But every day we put something in that bin, and it just keeps, like, for lack of a better term, composting down, like it's compacting or something. I don't know. There's been a lot put in that bin, and there's not a hole in the bottom, but that stuff's going somewhere. I've got 3 watermelons left in the patch here, but I wanted you to see, I did a video on how to pick a watermelon, and that was just a few days ago I made that video. But look how big this thing is. Like, it may be the biggest watermelon we've ever grown, and last year we grew some big ones. And that doesn't mean it's going to be good or sweet or anything, but it just gives me happiness. It gives me joy when I can grow something like this. And I know God made it, not me, but that thing is something else right there. And there's 2 more back there, and then there's another crimson growing there, round one. And I think we're going to go to round ones next year. These Jubilees, these long ones, they're impressive, but they're not that sweet. And you take a watermelon, you know, inside it's that big around, and you only eat that much of it because everything else around it just doesn't have any sweetness or any good flavor to it. And I don't know why, but I planted okra, and I haven't picked in 2 days, and these weren't even close to ready. And look how many okra we have. And we have a fridge full of it. So tell me right now in the comments down below, what do you guys do with okra? Because we don't know what to do with it. we don't eat a lot of fried foods, and we like fried okra. If we go out to a restaurant, we'll get fried okra, but we don't want to eat it every day. What else do you do with it? I've said it many times here on the channel that if Deb was a transformer, her name would be Amazon Prime. And I guess I'll do a video on it and show it, but I bought something to turn all of that cardboard into what's called the brown component of compost. These are some little pears that we picked off of that pear tree, but they get real big. So we're not going to eat every single pear off there. But I just love how this is composting down. And I cut up 2 watermelons this morning. And those maggots and other bugs will get to work on that. And they'll have that broke down pretty quick. Do you guys compost? I've never have. I mean, not formally like this. And I just find it fascinating. The problem with this bin, it's going to be hard to mix it and turn it to get oxygen, because oxygen is the fuel besides this green stuff, which is the nitrogen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll make a video on when I open that up and hopefully pull out some nice, rich compost. Hopefully there's worms and stuff in it. And just use that in all these rows. So we're about to transform the garden into raised beds, and I put one of them together the other day, but I still have several more in a box I got to put together. And then we got to get some compost, because I'm not going to be able to make enough compost. But we'll go around the property, get enough base layer, like some leaves and stuff I've got composting, and some wood chips, and put in there. And then I guess we're going to have to buy some really good soil for the top 6 inches or so. But over here is what I'm going to work on in today's video. And we did a video of a brush hog versus a flail mower comparison, and the grass was tall. It was up to my waist, really, really thick. And we got great hay production. Normally on everything that we hay, about 5 acres, we can get, well, really it's probably like 4. We can get like 100, 105 bales of those mini round bales. But we only did a couple acres and we got 70. So we put out plenty of fertilizer. And because of that, where we didn't hay, where it's brown over here, it got really tall. And we put a brush hog through it, and then we put a flail mower through it. And there's just so much clippings, I guess. We're not going to hay it anymore this year, but the grass will be healthier if we can get that short and mowed like we do over there. And then we'll fertilize it, and we'll let it you know, get deeper roots and just get stronger. We're only going to cut the hay that we need. There's no sense taking nutrients from the land. But I can't get the zero turn in here. This grass is too long and too stringy. But I think I have the secret weapon. After I shut off that video of the comparison, I went over here with the flail mower and I held it up high and I knocked off the tops of the grass. Then I lowered it a little bit, went over it again. I think I went over it a 3rd time, and I got it to where it is now. And I think where it is now, I can handle with my John Deere finish mower behind the Kubota. I think I can handle that. It's got cutlass blades on it. They're this multi-sided blade. Instead of just having 2 blade sides, they have 4 blades, and they swing away. And they do a good job with mulching. So I'm going to try that. I think I can mulch up the clippings that are there, plus get that grass down to a shorter height so that the zero turns can handle it. We just released our hay video this morning from when we baled the hay, and that's doing pretty well. And that's kind of the big muscle movement as far as tractor work that we got going on out here. The rest of the upcoming videos are going to be about building that barn. Hopefully we have a surprise for you guys coming up. I'm still in talks with someone, but we want to get that barn built out so we can start thinking about what animals we want to put in it. And also, yesterday they were supposed to come coat my garage floor. All my life I've wanted that fleck or that flake coating on the garage floor, but I've just never been willing to spend the money on it. And I was all set yesterday, and they were supposed to do it, but they couldn't get to it. And speaking of not being able to get to it, I don't think I can get to my finish mower. We'll try. Maybe I can muscle it out of there. So soon we'll have a video out of coating the garage, and I'm really excited about that. I was going to do it myself, but the materials are so expensive, and if you mess it up, then you've got to not only rebuy the materials to redo it, but then you got to grind up what you messed up, and I just figured it wasn't worth a do-it-yourself on that. And also we met with a concrete contractor to pour a big apron in front of the garage. We were going to use gravel all the way up there, all the way up to the garage, but then we decided that it'll be, we'll keep the house cleaner if we pour a concrete pad. We need to think about starting our fall garden. It's middle of July, so we still got a little bit of time for that, but we got to figure out what it is that we want to grow. And just keep fine-tuning that, because we need to stop growing things that we don't necessarily enjoy eating or get excited about eating, like okra. Deb took the tomatoes and processed them this year. She didn't can them per se. She boiled them down and made like a thick paste, and then she made some spaghetti sauce. I know this is dumb, but I don't feel like putting the bucket on and getting the chain and all that stuff, so we're going to do this way. It might even roll down the hill. Do I know the right way to do this? Yeah, I should go put the bucket on the tractor and get a chain and lift it out, and I just don't feel like doing it. I think I got this thing in the perfect position so I can get it hooked up. Backwoods Buildings and Trust partly sponsored this building for us last year. So it's been 16 months or so since it's been built. And I got all the lumber here to build the shelves, and what I want to do is get it organized and then gravel it. We'll get it organized by putting shelves there that I can put lighter equipment on the top, and then have more space down here for the rest of my implements. And this be my main implement barn, so I don't have to put it everywhere like in front of my mega shed. Again, back to the busyness and the heat. I'm sweating just doing this, but I just don't want to start hauling lumber around in 105 heat index. But it's a project that I have on my list to do for sure. I bought this finish mower used off of Facebook Marketplace. They're expensive. It's John Deere, Frontier actually, but it's sold as sold with John Deere equipment at John Deere dealers. So it's a good quality finish mower. And new, it's like $4,000 or $5,000. I should have walked away from it when I took this cover off and there was water in the gearbox, but I don't know. I don't know why I bought it. I guess because it was fairly cheap and I had to put a lot of money into it. Like, I think I have $1,600 into it. I think I paid like $1,000. The blades were completely worn out. Like, to the point that the guy said, and he was a nice guy, he just didn't know much about equipment, didn't care about his equipment, I guess. But he goes, I just ran it. He said, it cuts good. I took the blades off, and I couldn't imagine it cut anything. The blades were like 1/4 inch wide. They're supposed to be like 2 to 3 inches wide. Last thing I got to adjust is my top link, because when I lift this, it doesn't really lift it that tall. I'll show you. My top link is too long. So I'll just shorten that up, and then it'll lift it higher. Cutlass Blades sent me a set of these blades, and they're swing away like a brush hog, and there's 4 edges to them or 4 sides to them, and then a square plate that mounts, and they do really, really well on this finish mower. I can take grass that's 24 inches tall or so, and it just chops them up really good. I checked the sharpness on them, and they're still pretty sharp after 2 seasons of mowing. So I've been very impressed with them on the finish mower. This is the set we had on the 0 turn, and these got dull after a few acres of cutting, so I need to sharpen them. Okay, that's all set. Deb just texted me and said, do you want to eat lunch before you get started? I'm starving, so I'm going to go eat some lunch, and then the next thing you're going to see is this out in the field doing some mowing. Well, I thought I was ready, and then I remembered that when I was using the flail mower the other day, that all that strain, that PTO strain on the tractor, and it was like 96 degrees with like 111 heat index. And my tractor was having trouble cooling, so I'd have to keep cleaning the radiator fan out here, and then it would barely stay cool. So it was stressing out the tractor a lot. So I'm just going to clean this out with compressed air, just to make sure I'm getting maximum airflow here through my cooling fins. All right, let's see if the finish mower can finish what the flail mower and the brush hog couldn't do. See what I did there? Finish mower, finish. I forgot what a beast this mower is. I mean, it had no problem in here in this stubbly grass with all these clippings. It just ate right through them. Did exactly what I wanted it to do. That's an old mower that was not cared for, that I refurbed, and every time I use it, it just does a good job. Sometimes you just have those pieces of equipment that continue to perform for you. And this is one of them. A lot of thatch here, though, or a lot of clippings. Running nice and cold. RPMs are staying up when I get into the heavy grass. I got that section of the pasture looking a lot better, but there's so much clippings out there, especially where the grass was really tall, like in the center, where those little dips and stuff are. It gets more moisture and just different type of soil out there. The grass is just better. And the tractor was, it would lose a few RPMs, but I just slowed down. I just went to a creep. I was in, it's a 3-speed hydrostatic transmission. I put it in low. I put it in 2-wheel drive. It didn't need to be in 4-wheel drive. Just trying to get all the power to the PTO. And it handled it good, and it didn't overheat, and it wasn't, it wasn't rising. I guess the radiator is pretty clean, and it's hot out here. I'm underneath that cool tops, and I got a fan blowing on me, and I'm still sweating, and I'm out here in the sun, and I can just feel that radiant heat. But I wanted to show you something that I learned last year, I think, when I was cutting tall grass with the finish mower. The one thing that happens, and you can see a little bit of buildup there, but all that grass that's sitting there, all of that clippings and everything out there will start to fill in this space because it can't go up under the mower deck. And so this whole area will be nothing but grass all the way up to here. And sometimes it'll come out in clumps and go through the mower, and it's a rear discharge mower, so that's why it lays it so evenly out there, because it's all going 6 feet wide out the mower and not through a chute. But I found when that's building up a lot, to simply raise your 3-point hitch so that instead of your mower being drug around like that on all 4 casters, you lift the front 2 casters up a little bit. So just by doing this, and you don't have to raise it very far, but right now it's still all the way down, and it goes down based on this space right here. There's a spacer here you could put underneath, and that would make it mow higher, but I got it at its lowest mowing setting. But I just lift it up like that. These casters are now off the ground, but I got more space on the front, and it'll let those clippings go up under the mower deck and get processed, and it doesn't really change the height that you're mowing out the back. So if you're mowing tall grass, you might want to try that, because otherwise at the end of the row I was getting like pickup sized clumps of grass that then you got to run over back and forth like 8 times before you can disperse them. So here's the before, and over there's the after. You just see how much better it looks. All good things must come to the end. And no, I'm not closing out the video, at least not yet. My mower failed, and that's frustrating because I'm probably 3/4 of the way done, and it'll take John Deere weeks to get me that part. I've just had no luck at getting parts from John Deere for this mower. So we got our main drive pulley there, drives all the other ones. That's our idler pulley that keeps the belt tight. And this one is just a stationary pulley. And this right here used to go over top of that, like that. And here's some of the shard remains. And what happened was this bearing inside of here failed. This one is still hot, but it won't turn. And when that stopped turning, this was turning on top of that until finally it just popped off, until the plastic just got so soft. Then it popped off. The belt's in good shape. I replaced the belt when I refurbished the mower last year. But that's the frustrating part about having equipment, and there's only so much time in the day when you can get out here and do it, and there's only so much time to cut it before it gets too tall. And I only had a few more strips left, and then we could start cutting this with the 0-turn, but I guess I'm going to have to hook the flail up and cut it low like I was cutting it low with this finish mower. You got to roll with it, or else you're just going to be aggravated all the time if you own property and you're working with equipment, but there's never a good time for things to fail. So now is as good a time as any, right? The best time would be either never, and then the second best time would be I'm on the last 10 feet of the last row and it fails then. That would be a pretty cool time. But that's all I've got. We sure appreciate you watching. If you would, click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? It's 100% free. But until next time, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short. Tractor hard and don't get frustrated. And check out these 2 videos here. They're pretty cool too. Catch you on the next one, guys.